And we continue with part 3 and even more comedy. I do have other stuff coming up later, don't worry. But this is the second part with comedy. Now, this first one is a series of short films. I'm not sure if they've been shown in the movie theater or not, but it's something that I've been wanting for a long time, and I found a really cheap copy. Really ridiculous cover here, but it's all thumbs, the complete collection. It's basically parody films by Steve Odekirk. He's the man behind this. The reason why I knew about these is because, it's because of him. It's because I've been a fan of him for a long time. Love Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. I haven't seen that in years, but I still know all the scenes because I've seen it so many times. So because of him, and he's directed other films that I like too. I've been wanting to see these, but the box set was always so expensive. So I've been sort of monitoring the price on Amazon, along with a bunch of other stuff that I've done that for years. And I tend to pick up stuff whenever they're cheap. And this was very cheap now. I don't know how much I paid. I think I might have paid like £6 plus shipping. So this, these are parody films of famous blockbusters. Well, I don't know if this is a blockbuster. Anyway, famous films, You can figure out which ones it parodies. And the characters are all thumbs. And sometimes other fingers, but mainly thumbs. And they've animated faces onto it, you might know of the Annoying Orange on YouTube, or it used to be a thing anyway. It sort of looks like that. They've animated it onto the thumbs, and so it's a really ridiculous idea. Just a reason for Steve Odekirk to come up with some dumb jokes, but it's funny. But I have mentioned my region-free player breaking down, and I actually only had time to see 2 of them before that happened. I saw those 2 in chronological order, so these were the first 2 that came out. So I've not seen these yet, so I'm gonna have to just wait until I have a new player and watch them then. But I gotta say that these, while I maybe chuckled a couple times, they weren't great. I mean, they were quite funny, but I didn't absolutely love them. This box set is pretty beat up, by the way, but the discs were all in perfect condition. So I do look forward to getting back to that eventually. Then we have a show that sometimes my cousin comes over here. She sleeps over occasionally when she has to start early. She lives in a neighboring city. But so I let her sleep over here sometimes, and we always watch something. And it's thanks to her that I have this next thing, because one night we watched the IT Crowd Ultimate box set, all seasons of this, and I really liked it. So I watched all of it on Netflix, but I bought the DVD set anyway because I wanted to own it. And I wanted to watch the extras, like always. So I bought this for a pretty good price on Savi, I think. I am a big fan of UK sitcoms, like obviously Fawlty Towers and Blackadder. But another 2 more of my favorites would be Peep Show. That's probably my favorite British comedy show beyond, except for Monty Python, of course. So Peep Show, and I love Black Books too. So those are like the main 5, I guess. Then there's a bunch. I have a pretty big collection, I would say, of British sitcoms. But this is one that I've never seen, but of course always known about. People have been talking about it. So I'm glad to have finally seen it now. It's not, for me, not up there with those other ones that I mentioned, but it is really funny. There are some really great episodes here. The episodes, I don't know what it's called. It's about a gay musical. They go to see a gay musical, basically. If you've seen the show, you know which one it is. There's such a funny segment in that episode regarding Chris O'Dowd and Richard Ayoade's characters going along with something that they shouldn't. Anyway, it's so funny. and it has a lot of those moments, a lot of really great moments. Overall, a really fun show. I did like it a lot, even though it wasn't a favorite. I really did like it. Also, it has Matt Berry. He takes over from another really great performer. What's his name? Chris Morris. So they're in the show as well, and I do like those actors as well. Well, I don't know if Chris Morris is an actor. He's more of a writer, I guess, a director, comedian. Anyway, Doc Martin, a kind of show that I don't normally watch, but that I am perfectly fine with. It's just something that I don't normally get into. It is a comedy, and I obviously like my comedies, but it's more of a I mean, Martin Clunes, he plays this, yeah, we got the first 5 series, and then the film that came after series 2, I think. He plays this, maybe a third one, anyway, he plays this surgeon who has hemophobia, fear of blood, so he has to stop being a surgeon and move to this small, very picturesque, idyllic town of Port Wen, as more of a general practitioner, I guess, and he's very rude to his patients and everyone around him. He feels like everyone is an asshole but me. Everyone acts like idiots but me. He's that kind of a character, and sometimes I feel like the character might go a bit too far, but he is a good, he does play a good character. I do like Martin Clunes in this. And yeah, and then it's about all the people who live in the village. One of the main things I really like about this is how it films the city of Port Wen. I mean, you can really tell that they film everything on location. After having seen this show, I mean, you know what the town looks like. You know where his practice is up on the hill. You know how it goes down to the beach or the bay. You know where the restaurant is. You know, you get such a good geographical idea of where everything is, and that's rare for a show to depict a town like that. Or maybe it's not rare for this kind of a show. Like I said, I don't really watch this kind of a 40-minute comedy drama-ish show that much. I mean, my comedy viewing is more 20-minute comedy, if that makes sense. But I did enjoy it a lot. Like I got season 1 and 2 first, and I just immediately really got into it, and then I got these eventually, and I've been enjoying it over a few weeks. And I will say that after a while it does get a bit samey, like you know, not a lot of new things are introduced. I mean, there is his relationship with I forget her name, but this woman here, that evolves over the series. But other than that, like, the characters remain the same. The general feeling of the show is the same, the setting is the same, everything just sort of goes on in the same way, and after a while I kind of maybe got a little bit tired of it. So while I do like it a lot, and I do look forward to get into it eventually, I'm gonna have to wait for a little while. But there are so far 8 series out on DVD, so I do have more to watch, but I'm gonna wait for a little while before I get into those. Here we have 2 series 1 and 2 of a show called Sensitive Skin, which you could call a comedy drama, but it's more of a drama. I guess about 6 episodes, perhaps, maybe not that many, maybe 4 each series. Yeah, with Joanna Lumley. I haven't seen Absolutely Fabulous, which I feel like it may be the thing that she's the most known for. But in everything else that I've seen her in, I always like her. And I've also been watching some of her documentaries, which is gonna come up in a subsequent part. But these 2, you know, it's about a middle-aged or upper middle-aged woman just kind of navigating life, really. And it's a good show. I did like this. I watched it over a couple days, and I had a good time with it, I gotta say. So yeah. Yeah, then we got another couple of British. I realize now that everything here is from the UK, except for the All Thumbs. But when it comes to comedy on DVD, like almost 9 out of 10 things that I buy nowadays is from the UK. It may be because a lot of US comedy is more easily available to stream, but also because I order from the UK, Amazon UK, and so the UK DVDs or the UK shows, they're very cheap, so it's easy for me to get them. This is a show called Sunshine, which I bought because of Steve Coogan, really, but I also like Bernard Hill from Lord of the Rings. This wasn't my favorite. There were some nice scenes, some really good acting between the two of them in particular. But overall, you know, not my favorite. But yeah, I suppose if you're a fan of Steve Coogan, you might want to check it out. This one I honestly couldn't really get into, but I feel like I should be able to get into it because it is my kind of show. 15 Stories High. It's just a little bit weird. Like, I don't usually say that. I usually like weird comedy, but it is kind of weird. Some things I'm just watching it. I haven't seen all of it. I've seen out of the 2 series maybe 12 episodes. I'm not sure, but I've seen maybe 4 out of those. So I've seen about a third. And sometimes I'm just finding myself wondering, like, why is this happening? Why are you doing this? Sometimes I just don't really entirely understand where the writing is coming. I don't know. I just simply don't get the comedy all the time. Like for all of the episodes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try to give it another chance at some point. I did like episode 1 actually, but after that I don't know. I just couldn't really appreciate it for whatever reason. But you know. And the final DVD for this part is a Family Guy DVD, freaking sweet collection. So I think it was Sarah Nicerak who was talking about this in a recent collection video. I think he mentioned that this had commentaries not included on the season sets. I think they released this after the show was cancelled. I think this DVD around that time anyway, and they recorded some commentaries for episodes that, you know, commentaries that are not included on season 1 and 2, the DVD sets. Maybe it's more than the first 2. Maybe it's like the first 4. I don't know, but I did check the DVDs for these episodes and made sure that they did not include the commentaries. So I just, for collector's reasons and, you know, obsessive reasons, I picked up this DVD for the commentaries. So that's that. That's the last one for this part. I've filmed 3 once in a row now, so my voice is almost breaking up a bit. So I'll take a break, and then we will return with the 4th part, which we'll see what that's gonna include. I'm not quite sure yet, but stay tuned.